Well, welcome to Zagging 101, Why Others Zig, We Zag. This is Guy Danhoff, and we're at now episode 4 in our fall series. Today's episode is going to feature 3 key tips to promote advocacy through social media. A lot of people, first of all, I just want to thank all the new people that are new to the Zag. Our mission is pretty simple. We exist to help our professionals in our community develop your influence, your impact, and yes, your advocacy using social media tools. A little bit about me is that I've been very blessed to have done my doctorate work in social media strategy, which led to me co-authoring a textbook of which I was one of the first ones to publish in the fitness space on digital marketing that's published by Human Kinetics. And since using that research, it's led me opportunities to serve currently with MOSHAPE as the Director of Digital Media and Promotions. I'm also part of Laura Beckman's group at Missouri Healthy Schools through the CDC's 1301 and 1801 grants. And yes, I've been very blessed to be part of Stephanie Morris's team. Shape America is one of the strategists, as well as one of my specialties is capturing live video. And I'm also a professor at Missouri Baptist University. I'd like to now introduce my co-host, who I'll just give you one little tip about her. She's a dog mom.
Yes, so I kind of got brought into this group with the Healthy School Initiative. So I worked with the Missouri Coordinated School Health Coalition and was their digital media consultant. And I'm also a freshman counselor at Missouri Baptist University. I have a strong heart for physical activity and fitness. I was an athlete my whole life, so I now coach and live through my athletes. I coach soccer and softball. I'm a dog mom to that sweet little puppy named Nala. She's a Great Pyrenees Lab mix, and I love her to death. And then I am coffee obsessed, so if you ever want to get coffee or shoot me your favorite coffee house, I would love to try it out. I love coffee. All right.
So today we've got a very special guest that obviously everyone knows. Shape America CEO Stephanie Morris is on the Zag Live. A little bit about Stephanie, though. She's an active mama. I do like the way she said mama. She's a master chef. And Stephanie, we're just going to have to ask you right now, when you say master chef, like what's like one of your top 2 dishes?
That would definitely be my noodleless zucchini lasagna. Ooh. Extremely healthy.
Ooh.
Yes, and also I do an amazing grilled lamb chop. I'm famous.
That's really good to know because Laura Beckman just texted me and she wants to get you on Tasty Tuesday. Just saying.
I'm in, Laura. Sign me up. I'm in.
Stephanie is also a former Wrangler. She's a California native, but a DC local. So we want to welcome Stephanie Morris to the Zag.
All right.
All right. So guys, our very first question that hold on. We got breaking news. I didn't realize. Lauren, what did you just do? You changed the slides on me. We have breaking news. Guys, this just happened. DESE just put out their Teacher of the Year for Missouri, and is our own MOSHAPE member, Daring DC Cockrell. Big time shout out to DC. DC, actually, we had a chance to catch up with them. Our own Chris Staley went one-on-one with him today at noon. We learned some pretty interesting things about DC. We also learned that he was a former student of our own executive director, Dr. Tom Lowry, and he cites our own Mary Dreimeyer as one of his inspirations in teaching. That's really cool. You guys will be seeing a lot more about DC, and seriously, in weeks to come. We were able to get the first interview out on him today. You'll be seeing more over the next couple of weeks. And Stephanie, you know, this award goes to any teacher in any field, but it feels just a little more special just because it happens to be within the HPE community. I was just wondering if you could, you know, share a few your thoughts on this honor.
Absolutely. This is huge for the HPE community, that a state teacher of the year is a physical education teacher, when we all know that that just so rarely happens, and that's so unfortunate, but that's just amazing. So please, Darian, let me extend my personal congratulations to you. I also want to take a moment to extend an invitation to Shape Baltimore. We would love to have you come and be present and be a speaker and represent our profession. So I will follow up with him about that, but it's something we already started talking about at Shape America, because we could not be prouder. This is incredibly exciting. It's a huge moment for the entire community. So congratulations, DC.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. All right, hopefully we'll be rocking you guys commercial free moving forward. Thanks, Lauren, for throwing me off on that slide.
No problem.
And I'm the one who loves breaking news. How about that? That's an irony, don't you think? All right, so guys, here's why we're here. Here's the first question. Why do we even need social media for advocacy? I want you guys to think about that for a second. We've known for years, there's all these different ways that we can advocate, but here we are today. But why do we need social media? Well, we're going to kind of explore that a little further. So with that, Lauren.
So the first and foremost is build trust and relationships. And so using social media to advocate gives you guys a whole different platform to use your voice and connect with people that you may never have been able to connect with, as well as people will be able to share your information that, you know, maybe will have so many different followers, and that way you guys can kind of create those relationships with people that can help you either move the needle in the different kind of projects that you're trying to advocate for. And Guy, do you want to go anything more on that?
Yeah, actually, guys, and Laura Beckman and I talk about this all the time. Sometimes, like, we don't actually know people, but we know them through social media. I'll give you a great example. Ever since I started working with Laura on projects related to the WISC model, I've gotten to know a guy named Sean T. Slade. That's his Twitter handle. And Sean, if you put WISC in the hashtag, and it's credible source, I mean, he's all over it. He's retweeting, he's liking, he's advocating for us. And that's what we mean by building trust and relationships. It may not get to the level where you even know the person yet, but you can build that in this online environment through social media, especially Twitter. And that's been kind of a great thing that you guys can start to see. We're seeing it like what we're doing now at MOSHAPE with other states and helping support things that you guys are putting out. Likewise, have you guys done for us? And so that's a big part of that process. The second thing is, in terms of, you know, why do we need social media? It does give us a platform so that we can make a greater connection to something that's so much bigger than ourselves. And I'm just going to give one simple example. I think a majority of the people, you know, on this webinar have all experienced this. You guys go back to when it was March and the stay-at-home order first hit. You know, Christy Berry, who's actually on right now, you know, she was in a place where she felt very troubled, displaced, maybe a little frustrated, depressed. And I'll never forget when her and Anna had a chance to kind of talk together. And the next thing you know, I get roped into a meeting and we're launching this idea about Chalk Your Walk. Well, Chalk Your Walk, to be really honest with you, would have taken probably, and I'm not exaggerating, 3 to 4 months to get approved through our normal processes. But because it was COVID, guys, we launched that thing in less than 4 days. And then when we got Jamie Sparks involved, and Jamie brought it to Stephanie and the entire, you know, Shape America board, it wasn't like we were seeking board approval. It was that people as individuals decided to get plugged in and take part in that community tool. You guys all know the results. The results were we had 44 different states represented in 3 countries on something so simple as spreading kindness and positivity through one major hashtag called Chalk Your Walk. We know this is powerful. We know this can happen. The other thing I will say, even about something bigger, let's go to, you know, to the Speak Out Day. We all know what happened this past year. We were trending on Twitter, Speak Out Day for us. Guys, that's just really hard to do, but it just goes to show what happens when we advocate together as individuals and people and not just corporately. So that's a big part of what we're going to be talking about. And with that, Lauren, you want to kind of finish this off?
Yeah, so the last one, create an effective platform for sharing stories, events, and resources. And what this means, I'm going to kind of throw it back a little bit, is you guys already know you have to define the audience you're trying to reach. That is number one before you even get into this piece. After you define that audience, you might be thinking you're like, I'm not getting the people that I'm wanting. They're not responding. They're not engaging. Maybe you're not on the right platform for your audience. And we're actually going to dive in a little bit deeper in the next slide. But first, I'm going to kind of throw it to Guy.
Yeah, so Stephanie, we were kind of joking before the broadcast started, and you intentionally used on Twitter 2 years ago, back in November of 2018, you had the hashtag at Steph4464. And then you changed it when you got back home to Virginia. And so I was wondering if you could kind of weigh in on this, because is there some vulnerability here that goes on? Or tell us a little bit about, how you personally have kind of transformed in the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's very true. When I first started at Shape America, I was definitely what you're going to call a lurker on Twitter, right? I know many of us relate to that. It was fun to be on Twitter. It was fun to see what other people were posting, but I rarely posted myself. And I felt like, it felt too public. And I did not feel ready to really have that presence on Twitter. And so I remember meeting Guy, and I remember sort of mulling this over with him and sharing, my Twitter handle right now is a combination of my name and my birth date. And I don't know, given my position, do you think I should switch it? And immediately Guy was like, yes. Yes. What are you even talking about? Yes, you need to switch it. And that was kind of the kick I needed to make that public move and switch to the handle of Shape America's CEO. And that was a really big step for me, because it meant that every time I tweeted, people knew who I was, right? They knew what I represented. They knew I was part of this national organization. I also had to start being really mindful of what I was tweeting, because it is reflective of the organization. And I also had to be prepared for people to come at me at times who disagreed with certain things, or who wanted certain things done, and who wanted to express frustration, because that happens a lot on social media. But it's all part of it. And I have grown so much with it. And I would just say the connections I've made within the community and the opportunity to advocate publicly and visibly for everything that we all believe in is so powerful, and has had so much impact. It's well worth it. It is scary. I'm the first to admit that. I know for those of you who are still lurkers, I get it. But I also encourage you to take the next step and be more active, because it is so worth it, and you will see the impact.
Thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that. And with that, I do want to throw it back to Lauren, because I want you to show our viewers, again, I don't want to go too crazy with the analytics, but give a simple example of what this kind of data represents, and why it's relevant to the viewers.
Okay, yes, of course. So I actually encourage you guys, if you have your phones, to take a picture of this if you're struggling with knowing where your audience falls and what different platforms they might be using. So to start off, the Twitter and the YouTube is the main one that seems to be across the board, where everybody seems to have those two. When we go down to Facebook, you see that our 30 to 49 range in our 18 to 29, which I was actually surprised about this, because I think in prior years, it was the 30 to 49 to 50 to 64 was a lot higher. So in 2020, it seems like Facebook is going back up. And I think that's with the groups that's really getting into those certain groups and being able to distribute information that's specific to those groups. And lastly, Instagram is for all my generation. We are the 13 to 17, 18 to 29, we heavily use Instagram. So if you're trying to catch the college age kids or even younger, that's where they are at. Guy, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, really, guys, if you are really thinking about trying to get very strategic about your future professionals, like we were last year, we were fortunate that our president, our future professional president, was very active, and he helped us a lot to kind of get things going. But this is going to be the area where they are. I'm just going to give you a simple statistic. I had to do this for our athletics program to say where our audience was at. If you're in that age group of future professionals that are in college now, basically you're looking at less than 16% are on Twitter. It's even less. It's about 11% for Facebook, but on Instagram, it's over 66%. And this came out on a study of all the student athletes that was put out by a very credible source that we use with the NAIA. So I'm just letting you guys know, if you want to know where your audience is, Instagram definitely would be your strategy there, because most of those future professionals are not on these other tools. So But Lawrence, thanks for sharing that. Again, we don't want to get, too geeked out on the data, but again, you guys can see why we have to, be knowledgeable in using these tools so that we can make better decisions in the future.
So tip number 1, get to the training part of this. So develop a strategy. And Guy, you want to dive into that?
Yeah, and you guys know 2 weeks ago we did this. We actually did a whole episode. I'd encourage you guys to go back to episode 2. We did a whole training on developing your strategy, which actually was viewed by more than just under 2,000 replay views, which is unbelievable. And really the strategy, guys, like anything you're going to do in life, we just have to figure out and create that roadmap of wherever we want to go. For example, if I wanted to go out to say, I don't know, like LA, there's so many different paths you can, take to get there, but you got to figure out which one's going to be best for you. And I'm saying this corporately for those, because we have a lot of leaders on the call. So you got to be thinking corporately, but also individually, what's going to be your strategy? Because as Stephanie said, the bottom line is we can all advocate as people. And we know that we did chalk your walk. Most of us did that. And we were just doing it as people. So we need to have that strategy and be very, not to steal the thunder from the Health Moves Minds folks, but we want to be mindful about our strategy. And with that, talk to us about a little bit about being intentional, Lauren.
Yes, so I feel like we've really pushed this, and I'm going to continue to push it. If you remember a few weeks back, we did a mistake of random acts of content, and that's where we're kind of falling back to this being intentional. So we really, really, really want you guys to understand that you need to know your why and your mission, and then each post needs to reflect back to that. So for instance, with Zagging 101, our mission is to teach you guys how to advocate on social media.
Right.
So why are we doing this Zagging 101 today? To teach you guys how to advocate on social media. And we listen to your guys' key takeaways and say, okay, they like this. Let's dive into this. We're listening and we're being super intentional on what we are trying to teach you guys and listening. And with that, Guy, you want to finish us off?
Yeah, and the last one, again, we're kind of reiterating this, but it's kind of important. You want to choose the most important platforms. We have doubled down on Twitter because we know for advocacy work, and guys, man, I can't wait to dive deeper in this next week, but you're going to see some real interesting data on some of the biggest campaigns that you've ever seen on how choosing that right platform. And the number one for advocacy is Twitter, because it's a quick hit, it's a news feed, it gets to the whole world instantaneously. Then you can start looking at your Facebook because you got the groups, as Lauren said, but YouTube also has to be part of that strategy because that's where you can house the data, it becomes searchable. So there's a few different strategies, but you want to make sure that you are picking the most important platform, or if you're a little more advanced, platforms as you move forward, so that you can, again, maximize your efforts, and certainly with your key strategies with trying to be the best you can with advocacy.
So I'm going to ask Stephanie a question with that then. So Stephanie, being the CEO of Shape America, can you take a deeper dive into why it's so important to have a strategy and how you developed a strategy, really?
Yeah, absolutely. So advocacy, as everybody knows, is one of the most important things that Shape America does. It's definitely one of our 3 main pillars that we focus on every single day, year round. And we actually really take an approach where we intentionally try to infuse everything we do with advocacy in different ways. And a big push, especially this past year with COVID-19 and all the challenges we've been facing, has been to really help equip our community with social media tools, with easy messages that they can pick up and just use and tweet out, with flyers that just quickly demonstrate why health and PE are so important now more than ever, and that they can be taught safely and securely. And there's a whole host of tools and resources on our website that we continuously refresh and revisit and really put out there so that our teachers, you all, have the opportunity to take them and use them yourself, because you are the most important advocates for our community. And we have seen so many awesome success stories, especially in recent months, coming out because of this effort. One example that I will share, and I love it, it's amazing. In June, a budget was proposed in Portland, Oregon, that eliminated PE in schools. And the state leaders in Portland, Oregon Shape, got together and really went full throttle with a social media campaign to call out why this was a devastating move for our kids, for our students. And they created this echo chamber of messages. They coordinated their efforts, and they made sure to tag those who were in charge of making these decisions, and it worked. They got the decision reversed, and they have PE as part of their program this fall. That is just huge and really exciting, and just one example of the power of social media advocacy.
Wow. Seven, that's a very cool story. And again, that's why, guys, the power is in social media. It's not the end all be all, but it certainly can greatly help all our efforts. All right, our second tip, guys, is this one is near and dear to me. For a long time, people asked me what my doctorate work was in. And I literally would just say, I've been trained to tell stories. That's what my doctorate's in. I have a doctorate in storytelling, because that's really what marketing is. That really is what advocacy is. And our second tip is that we want to start to advocate through our stories. You know, it's funny, you know, our president, Dr. Joe Cheff, as well as our executive director, you know, Tom Lowry, I'm constantly given reports. And one of the reports that I noticed early on is that we spent so much time over promoting and under reporting all these cool stories. And now what we've done over the last, literally, it's the last 6 months, we've been swinging the pendulum so much harder the other way so that we can get a better balance on promotion, which we all need, of course. But the real value is in the stories. And that's what people connect to. As it says right here, this was from a TED Talk from Victor Gasti. He says that stories bind us together. And that's what helps us make sense of our experiences. Guys, that's what we get attracted to. That's why Hollywood, that's why we love movies. There's certain movies you know that you're going to watch, you're going to start to cry. Why are you going to start to cry? Because the story is so amazing. Like my daughter just saw The Notebook. She's 14. She was bawling her eyes out, you know. Of course, Dad goes see a movie, you know, and yeah, once in a while you'll see me tear up a little bit. I'm not going to tell you which movie it is, but, you know. The point is that people connect to stories, and the bottom line is when we share those stories, that's when we connect, that's when we create that real connection. So that's a great way to connect with people, because we know that stories that they stick. And what research tells us is that people remember stories more often, and they're more likely to be shared than just facts or random facts, or we're just going to throw data at people. No, what's the story? And that's why we created the MOSHAPE Minute, was to tell the story, kind of like Chris Daly did with, you know, Darian today on the MOSHAPE Minute. Hey, DC, what's your story? How did you get here? That kind of thing. And we're going to be doing more of that in Missouri. I can tell you that right now, because to Stephanie's point about what happened in Portland, guys, this could be happening in our states, but we've got to get to this mind shift and stop over promoting and really start reporting the real stories. And this is a part that's really exciting for me. You know, that I think that this is the business we have to be in. So I say it every week. If there's only one takeaway from today, here it is. Start advocating through stories. All right, so Stephanie, you just heard me give the big spiel. The single takeaway from today is stories. Could you kind of comment on why storytelling, in your perspective, is so key to our advocacy?
Just to what you said, it is what moves people to act differently and to make different decisions and vote different ways or write pieces of legislation. It really is. And that's why you see so many pieces of legislation named after, right, people that because their story led somebody to make a different decision, to take action. And I think the Portland story is such a powerful one. I also think of the story of Bill Casey in Naperville and holding that assembly to kick off Health Moves Minds in that week. And the students that came to him, the 3 students that came to him and said, I think I need help, and help me. I mean, these are real stories where we see the impact of physical education teachers. And we know that they are saving lives and they are changing lives and they're putting kids on a very different path than they were before. It is so powerful. And so to your point, yes, we have to share these stories if we want to see change impacted.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay, Lauren, what's our third tip?
All right. Tip number 3, manage your online presence. I'll throw it back over to you.
Man, well, you know what? I think Stephanie just gave us a little brief dissertation on Step 4464 to Shape America's CEO. And guys, I said that to her, you know, when she asked me about it at the convention in 2018, because what I found kind of interesting, I was thinking, okay, you're the CEO, and yet you just made this announcement that you're getting millions of dollars in some kind of grant. And I saw the Twitter handle, like, man, it just looks awkward. And of course, after that, that was my defense of why I said you might want to change that. I understand that maybe you're not a public person, but unfortunately the position is. And that's when this whole thing started 2 years ago. And so one of the things, guys, that when we start talking about managing your online presence, I know it doesn't sound really weird, but you want to start with listening. Start with listening. If you want to play it safe, just jump in on some other safe things that people are advocating on and share your view or information. A great example, we're seeing this all the time. I love the fact that people from all over the country in our HPE community, they're sharing all these resources, all these different ways about hybrid teaching and face-to-face and of course, even the virtual. We're seeing a lot more content on that. And social listening is so key. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I wanna share this last story. You know, Laura Beckman and I were talking about when we were in COVID first started. What was really interesting is that we partnered with the Missouri PTA, and they're the ones that told us what we should be focusing on. And we asked them, what problems do you have? Because we want to help solve them. And they said, we have two things for you guys. Number one, our parents have great concern about snacks. That's where we birthed stuck at home snacks. And the second was recess. And that was the birth of Sean Neville's beginning that process. And then he's the one who discovered Spaker Spot. And that's how we came up with Stuck at Home Recess. That's how that all began, because we were social listening and we reached out to those leaders in our state saying, hey, what problems you have? Let's see if we can partner together, because that's a big part of what Laura talks about all the time is these partnerships and working collaboration. And guys, we've taken it to the next degree. To give you a simple example, when we launch a lot of stuff now, I'm in contact with the communications folks of other people we're partnering with. For example, Joey Martelli. Anything that's kind of major that we put out, I'm contacting Joey. What might be the best time for us to do this? We're coordinating. What happened with Chris Daly today? I already contacted out to Lindbergh Schools, to their person who oversees their communications. And so they knew exactly when we were going to launch that piece, so they could get their people rallied. So when that piece hit, they could be right on it, jump on it, retweet it, comment on it, share it, all those things. And that's what I'm saying. But we're listening, we're seeing what's going on. And to be honest, how easy it is, just follow hashtags to start. It's just that simple. Then you can start to see what kind of conversations are going on out there. With that, why don't you talk to us about the next piece of this?
Yeah, so to piggyback off you, so when you're social listening and you start retweeting things and liking things, we want you to really amplify the response to the information. In other words, let your Twitter have a voice. Let us know your thoughts on the piece. Let us know what you think about these situations. And that way you guys, it'll personalize your Twitter. And that way it'll be easier to connect and build those relationships and show people who you are, not just at your name, you know. So that's a really key piece. And I think that as well as when you are retweeting and adding your own voice, that will help you connect with people, kind of like what Guy was saying with the Sean Slade. Every time he sees that MOSHAPE, because of their credibility, now he retweets it. And that's how that kind of works. And you want to end us off with your CTA, Guy?
Guys, and my whole state knows this. I mean, to say that I'm a little passionate about it, I'm going to just tell you this. We can do all the promotion in the world. We can create all the attention in the world, okay? But you want to know what the most important thing is? At the end of the day is the results. So if we're going to do that, we have to then have the appropriate call to actions. That's what CTA means. And the easiest way to do that is to use bit.ly links. We talked about that last week on data analytics. It's a simple, easy report. For example, when we launched 3 weeks ago, in combination with DESI, when they came out with the new Mo Ready teacher reentry guidelines resource, we put a bit.ly on that, and we knew within literally our first week, we had over 2,000 teachers using it. I mean, that's huge. And with that being the case, that's why bit.ly is a great way, but you want to be intentional so that when you're putting content out and you want someone to take action, you better have that link there, because here's the thing. People don't, I know this, they're not buying anything, but here's the concept. People make decisions not necessarily off of logic. They make it off of emotion, and they make it in the moment, especially on Twitter. And that's why I preach as hard as I do on CTAs. I see a lot of great posts and I'm thinking, well, where's the link? This sounds interesting. This is cool. But that's why I'm saying we want to have that, you know, that link there so we can encourage people to take action, or like we did for this, for Zagging 101, just to attend the event. We want to make it easy for people to access what we'd like them to do. In some cases, it's just directing them to a resource. In some cases, it's saying, hey, register for this. So anyways, the CTA should be part of your advocacy strategy and also a way to manage your online presence. So Stephanie, go ahead, Lauren.
So, as Guy just hit so hard on the CTA, what is your call to action that you would encourage the HPE to do right now?
I have a good one that happens to be timely and relevant to all of us. The National School Reentry Guidelines for Teaching Health and Physical Education show administrators, show parents, show school boards that not only can you teach health and physical education safely and securely in this COVID-19 era, whether you are in person, whether you are hybrid, whether you are distance learning completely. It shows you can teach it, but not only that, it shows you must teach it. Our kids must have these subjects right now. They are so critical given everything that is going on. So that's my call to action for you all. Go ahead and tweet those out, share them with, tag at your local administrators, tag school board members, but let people know about them because they are a strong advocacy, CDC-backed tool for all of us.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We got our CTA. That's a big one and a very timely one and an important one. I can promise you MOSHAPE's going to lead the way. That's hint to my friends like Chris Walker out there in North Carolina and our friends Jersey out in New Jersey. I know you guys are going to already be tweeting that already. Why we're probably even doing the broadcast, but don't worry, we'll catch up to you. All right, Stephanie, thank you for sharing that. No, that is a perfect, timely call to action for us right now.
All right.
Guy, I may add another one that's very similar to what Stephanie said, because one of our participants, Laura Beckman, will be issuing a real call to action next week when she meets with the St. Louis metro area school superintendents.
Yep.
This is a project that we've been working on through the Regional Professional Development Center and the Washington University School of Social Work. And Laura will have 10 minutes to bring our mission and our programs to all school district administrators. And so more collaboration.
Yep.
Every group that we can access through the state is our call to action. And because of your work and Lauren's work, we're all shouting out this stuff and it's going to happen.
Yeah, Tom, thanks for sharing that. And you know that we'll be putting out a lot more, you know, information on that, getting that promotion out. And I know we're looking forward as Laura has this amazing opportunity. All right. For those of you who might be Apple fans or Steve Jobs fans, as I am, it's probably the most guy I've written the most doctorate papers on is his leadership style. So I have to go there. One more thing. And with that, why don't you kick us off, Lauren?
Yeah, so ZAG. So take a ZAG approach to create or support content. And this just goes back to disruption of marketing and making sure that you guys are standing out and having those attention-grabbing headlines and doing those different things. Like Guy always says, you want to do it, Guy?
What? Why others zig? They're zigging this way, and then we're going to be the zag, cutting right off it, creating our own attention and adding value to You got to have the right vibe for the tribe. You guys know that?
So just really thinking out of the box and putting yourself and doing what Guy just said, disrupting that marketing so people really can see what you guys are putting out. Guy,
Yeah.
you want to?
Yeah, the second one, guys, is one more thing, is connecting. And I want to give some shout outs. You know, I got to tell you, I never could have imagined that this program, Zagging 101, would have such an impact. It's been great working with New Jersey, New Hampshire, Chris Walker down in North Carolina, Gary Lemke in Indiana, and of course, Judy Lobianco in New Jersey. And guys, here's what I love that's coming out about this. You guys are now figuring out how to connect even deeper. We're starting to see it with the blogging, the short videos. I don't know if you guys have seen Michelle Huff's videos, but I got to tell you right now, I'm all in on the Mindful Minute. I want to start my day. I'm glad that we have a time zone difference so that I get to do mine at 7 a.m. when I start my day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she is absolutely crushing it with that. The YouTube videos, guys, we're seeing an explosion of YouTube videos so that people can search our content. Every time we do a Zagging 101, we've been very strategic about using Zag01 as the hashtag. You know why? Because when you type it in any search engine, whether it's Google or YouTube, guess what happens? All 8 of our episodes come out number 1. Boom, 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 boom. That was highly intentional. So when people want to search Zagging 101, bang, it's right there for you. Same thing with Spaker Spot. You want to type in Spaker Tips, Brick the Click, any of the campaigns we have, type in Spaker Spot, search it, all their episodes come up. Boom, 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 boom. We're highly intentional about using these strategies and leveraging these platforms. And I know Jim Hamble, for example, and some others have a podcast. I would encourage you to keep rocking out on that, keep more podcasts coming. And then I know some people are looking now to get into their own live show. I'll be honest with you, we've had a lot of fun doing all our shows between Missouri Healthy Schools and certainly MOSHAPE. But I can't wait to see some of the things that you guys are going to be doing. And I know I've been working with some of you guys on how to develop that. Matter of fact, next week, we're going to dive a little deeper on that again, because we're going to give you guys some more tips on how you can also use just short video. And I'll just give you one simple example. If you guys had a chance to see Christy Spears of Spaker Spot, we posted a video of hers yesterday. It was just like 37 seconds long, but it was a behind the scenes. She was in between classes. She's got her mask on, but she just shared a powerful message of what her first 2 weeks of school was like. Guys, that is what we're talking about. That is advocating. So we want to connect. And these tools allow us to do that. So I would encourage you guys to continue in that. And I'm talking to you, Chris Walker, because I know you got some big plans on what you want to do on Monday morning. So I'm holding you to fire on that one, my friend. And last but not least, I got to give a shout out to Shape America President Brett Fuller. Brett goes weekly with the YouTube. We love it. I love it. Brett, way to go. And love that you keep tracking your analytics, and you know that you've got this platform. It's so cool to see you do that. I know I get really excited every time that you post the YouTubes, because again, we're feeling what you're feeling in that moment. You're sharing the things that are going on that are going to benefit us all. And so just please keep that content coming. And with that, Lauren, you want to finish this out?
Yes. So this last piece is share the love. And this is just more for the algorithm, but also, so I want to really encourage you all to like and share each other's comments, because that means that more people will be able to see it. And that helps them, like Guy said, you start that conversation, and you guys, it was trending because everybody was liking, sharing, commenting, all that stuff. So I just really want to encourage you all to be helping each other out by sharing and liking and retweeting, and that will help them. And it's just a great way to share the love.
Absolutely. All right. We have to give a huge shout out. We are so excited. Yes, we got to thank, oh my gosh, Sandy Moore, our past president. Heart Zones has just been such a beautiful relationship for us, as they're not only obviously sponsoring this show, they're also doing our MOSHAPE Minute, and of course our upcoming virtual conference on November 12th through 15th. And with that, Sandy, would you like to come on and just maybe say a few words about this new partnership that we have?
I think I'm just very blessed that, I bought Heart Zones as a teacher my last 2 or 3 years of teaching. And, Beth Kirkpatrick brought me in, to Heart Zones to work with her. And You know, my best thing that I like about it is Heart Zones gives back to the teachers.
Yep.
You know, if you are a SHAPE membership, we've got that. You know, Stephanie and I talked last year, you get 5% off if you're a SHAPE member. You know, if you're a state member, you know, I can give you 5% off. I just really like that. I still get to hang out with cool people all over the nation, like that's on here, Judy and, you know, Brett and, you know, Mary and, you know, everybody. And I get to see Stephanie's face. And, you know, I still get to hang out with Doc Lowry, who started my journey back, you know, more years than I want to think about right now. But my whole thing is it's just, it's Pete, you know, I'm a physical educator still, even after I retire. And just like Laura Beckman's, the DESE stuff that they've put out, I'm passing that on. I have 8 student teachers right now at Lindenwood, and they were clueless about, you know, the MOSHAPE stuff and everything until I sent that, and they're like, oh my God. And I was like, this is why you do it. There's help anywhere and everywhere you can look. And, you know, the thing with Heart Zones, I remember the day my really good friend was a math teacher, and she got a class set of calculators for their math kids back in the day. And, you know, that's how I feel about this heart rate monitor thing. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete or a special needs kid or anything, you know, it's just good for kids. And that's what we're all about. Whatever's good for kids. And it doesn't matter to me what kind of heart rate monitor you get, but we should be teaching with them now.
Yep.
And, you know, just because Beth Kirkpatrick signed the book that she wrote 20 years ago, that's what's, you know, taken me to Heart Zones. And in my opinion, I think it's the best one out there, especially with this new EPE thing that we have.
Yeah.
So it's going to take off and it's going to change the world. True data, you know, right there for your effort participation. So.
Well, Sandy, you know that I'm in because you just mentioned one of my favorite words, data. So we're good on that. Sandy, we do want to thank you on behalf of MOSHAPE for this opportunity. Now, you guys see that nice heart monitor there? How would you like to win one? Yeah? All right, so here's the one disclaimer I have to give. If you are a board of director or on the executive team or on a committee, Anna, you are not eligible to win. Okay, you are not. But Anna,
or if you've already won one, maybe.
Yeah. So Anna, I need you to get ready because you're going to go into the chat. I want to keep this really fair for everyone. The first one who answers correctly, here is our ZAG pop quiz to win this Heart Zone monitor. Here we go. What happens when we share stories? Who's the first one?
Ooh, I have people, Chris Walker, we have people connection, they stick.
Yeah. Who's the first one?
Oh, Chris Walker.
Chris Walker, woohoo!
Woo-hoo! Yay,
Chris.
North Carolina.
Hey, Sandy, just put your email address in the chat. That way Chris can send you his home address.
Guy prize.
Chris Walker, winner, chicken dinner.
Chris, just text me.
Okay, cool.
Yes, ma'am, I'll text you.
There you go. I'll get you, babe.
All right, well, thanks again, Sandy. Like I said, every week you can win, and no exception this week. Big old heart monitor from Heart Zones. All right, Lauren, what do we have left?
All right, thank you so much, Sandy, seriously. All right, guys.
No problem.
So we are at our key takeaways, and we just asked for you guys to take a minute and put in your key takeaway of today's Zagging 101. Anything that you guys really took away from today, we really appreciate that, and that kind of helps us gear us, like I said in the past, it helps us gear us to the next episode and really truly figure out what you guys need, and so hopefully we can teach you guys. So with that, as you're writing,
stories are important, they should be shared. Yep. Advocate through stories, Brett Fuller. Stories connect. Our future professionals on Instagram. There we go. J-Lo, Judy Lo Bianco. Reinforce the fact that stories sick. Absolutely. Stories matter. Always try new ways. Exactly, Jim. Get going on the podcast, blog stories, sharing stories. Yep. This is great. All right. So while you guys are finishing that up, I'm going to kind of finish up this last few things right here. And we want to thank you guys for watching Zagging 101. We're going to go into the live chat in just a second, but just want to let you go is next week, we're going to take this a step further, as next week's episode 5 is going to focus on connecting your content to advocacy. And we're actually going to take some time to teach you guys how to create videos. That seems to be one of the most popular things, whether it's a short video, like Chris Walker's getting set to do there in North Carolina. Certainly you guys can see what like Jersey's doing out in New Jersey, Michelle Huff. She's doing a fantastic job, both live as well as these short videos. Even like you see like what Spaker Spot does on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock. So we're gonna reveal our special guests at a later date because obviously we only gonna bring the Zag on the show. You guys know that. So with that, we got one last announcement before we go and turn off the broadcast. Okay, so breaking news for us. This should make Dennis Dochev very happy, our president, because he asked a week or two ago, he asked the question, what about zagging? Could we get zagging into a session? Dennis, I took you so serious that when we were planning and thinking what we could do, and we wanted this to be, you know, all zag, well, we decided to do a live panel session on the very first day during our virtual convention, and we couldn't decide on which president, so we had to ask them all. And the reason why we had to ask them all is simply because what's so great about them is they all have different strengths and they all have different perspectives, and they're all located all throughout the US. And I got to tell you, there's going to be a lot for everyone. So just so you know, that picture of me in the middle, I'm not running for 2022. Just want to dispel any rumors there. I'm only there because I'm the media guy, and I get to be on the panel this time, though, because I'll be sharing obviously some more insights on that strategy, you know, level and platform of what I do for Shape America. But there they are: Judy LoBianco, 2018; Jamie Sparks, 2019; our current prez, Brett Fuller, and our president-elect Terry Drain. They're all going to be at our virtual conference. We're so excited. And Stephanie, we want to get your thoughts after we broke this news to you.
I was thrilled and said a big thumbs up to this panel. I think it's going to be amazing. I think each of these awesome leaders in our community brings such different perspectives and personalities to the table that it's going to be a really fantastic session. I definitely plan to tune in.
Awesome. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to turn off the recording